Dirk Dilly was enjoying a relaxed afternoon, sat with his feet resting on his desk, his tail outstretched and his wings tucked behind his back, watching television. A thin line of grey smoke drifted from his nostrils, slipping through the half-drawn blinds and escaping into the cold winter's day. Dirk loved days like this. No one to follow, no leads to chase. In fact, no cases at all. He was watching a daytime television quiz show, amusing himself by shouting out the answers before the contestants said them. "Mythical creatures," said the quizmaster, who was such a dazzling shade of orange that Dirk wondered whether the colour balance on his TV had gone wrong. "Susan, what mythical creature is said to live in and takes its name from a Scottish lake, 23 miles southwest of Inverness?" "Easy," said Dirk, picking up his glass of neat orange squash and downing it in one gulp. "Loch Ness Monster." He burped and tasted the orange squash a second time. "Twice as nice on the way out," he said. Is it the Loch Ness Monster?" said the contestant hesitantly. "Correct," said the host. Dirk smiled to himself. Human beings' ability to believe in things that didn't exist astounded him. They loved to imagine that remote areas like Loch Ness held secrets like good old Nessie. As far as Dirk was aware, there was nothing in Loch Ness except fish. Mind you, at least it kept them from looking for the creatures that really did exist. Dirk was one of 2 dragons in the London area, the other being a good-for-nothing sunlight-dodging shade-hugger called Catnapped, who lived deep underground and loved licorice as much as Dirk loved orange squash, and who Dirk had the dubious honour of calling his friend. "In China," said the quiz show host, "what a mythical creature is depicted as a long-scaled snake-like animal with 5 claws?" "Easy peasy," said Dirk. "A Chinese dragon." "Oh, I don't know. Is it a snake?" ventured the contestant. The quizmaster laughed. "Ha ha ha!" and a klaxon sounded. "I'm sorry, Susan, that's the wrong answer. Snakes aren't mythical." "Nor a dragon," said Dirk, picking up a tin of beans, extending his claws and prizing it open. He chucked the contents into his mouth. Like all dragons, Dirk had a strictly vegetarian diet. However, whereas most dragons survived on shrubs, berries and vegetables, Dirk had long since discovered the joys of tinned food. And what better than baked beans? Dirk wiped the sauce from his chin and lobbed the empty tin at the waste paper basket in the corner of the room. The phone began to ring, and Dirk grabbed the remote control and turned off the television. "The DragonDetective Agency. Dirk Dilly speaking," he said. "Ah, Mr. Dilly, my name is Miss Windybanks. I'm the librarian at St. Duncan's Grammar School." Dirk knew the school, but unlike its students and teachers, who were familiar with the classrooms and the corridors, Dirk knew the building's flat roof, having used it as a shortcut a couple of times when heading south across the city. "What can I do for you, Miss Windbags?" said Dirk. "Oh, Windy Banks," she said, correcting him. "Miss Lizzie Windybanks." "So sorry," said Dirk, feeling like a naughty schoolboy being told off. "What's your problem?" "Books are going missing from the school library," she replied. "No disrespect, Miss Windybanks," said Dirk, "but I don't think it takes a detective to solve that one. Surely the children are stealing them." "Well, that's what I thought, but I can't see how they can be," she replied. "You see, they go missing at night." "At night?" said Dirk, getting interested now. Miss Windybanks continued. "Last Monday the fire alarm went off in the middle of the night. The fire brigade was called, but I couldn't work out what set it off, but I noticed a few books had gone missing. The next night the alarm didn't go off, but more books disappeared. Every night since then someone has broken into the library and taken 2 or 3 books." "How do they get in?" asked Dirk. "Well, that's a mystery too. The door is locked at the end of the day, and it's still locked in the morning." "Who has the keys?" asked Dirk. "I have a set for the library door, but the only full sets belong to Mr. Reese, the school caretaker, and the deputy head, Mr. Barnes." "You, the caretaker, and the deputy head. OK," said Dirk. He jotted the details down in his pad. "What about other access? Could someone get in through the window?" "I can't see how. The library's on the top floor of the building," replied Miss Windybanks. "What kind of books are they taking?" "They're taking early reader books, the kind that children learn to read with," explained the librarian. "Surely this is a case for the police," said Dirk. "Well, that's what I thought, but the head won't allow it. He says it will reflect badly in view of the impending school inspection if they think we have a burglary problem. Says it wouldn't be good publicity for the school." "I see. What measures have you taken to stop them?" "Well, Mr. Reese, that's the caretaker, he's been extra vigilant to make sure the doors are properly locked, but I can't see what else we can do. That's why I've called you. I thought if we could get someone discreet." We could stop the thefts without drawing any publicity. You are discreet, aren't you? I wouldn't want one of the parents seeing you and getting suspicious, but I do need to stop the thefts. We're under-resourced as it is. If one of the parents saw me, missing books would be the least of your problem. What do you mean? Asked Miss Windybanks. Never mind, replied Dirk. He gave her his rates and promised to get onto it straight away. He put the receiver down, pulled up the blinds, and said, "So much for my relaxing afternoon." He turned the television sound back on for one more question. "Literature," said the game show host. "What ungrammatical question is also a kind of detective story?" "Who done it?" said Dirk, switching off the television, pushing the window wide open, and jumping out. So that's part one. See if you can work out what the mystery is, who the suspects are, what motives they may have, and then we'll find out a bit more in part two. Thank you very much.
If you got a problem, big or small, a mystery to solve and you don't know who to call, take my advice, just listen to me. Call Dragon Detective Agency.